So first of all, congratulations. What a lovely show.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
What was the main idea before you start with the whole thing?
The main part of this show, Jason Sudeikis had created this kind of goofy character to help kind of sell Premier League, sell football or soccer, as we call it here, to the United States. And it was a sketch and a comedy, but we became obsessed with the fact that could become a TV show, especially putting a version of an American over in Europe that is maybe not the quintessential, boring, ugly American, but instead is a curious, optimistic, positive guy who, though he might be a bit of a fish out of water and, a little bit ignorant, is ignorant without the arrogance that often comes with it. It's just a curious man, and that people might be suspect of him at first, but are gradually won over by his purity of heart. We wanted to make a very optimistic show in a very tough time, and hopefully the show feels optimistic and hopeful.
Mhm. Well, the time couldn't be perfecter than now. I mean, on one hand, we have to deal with this terrible pandemic, so which is the perfect time to stream a new program. And on the other side, it's so much going on in the States now, and
Yeah.
I really think it's a good time to have a positive message.
I really agree. We're trying so hard. I want to always make sure that I explain that I'm a comedy writer, so I love cynical comedy. There's a show called Veep that Armando did that was here in the States, and I just think in the UK it was called The Thick of It. It's so cynical, but so good and so funny. But for me, all my shows generally have an undercurrent of heart, and hopefulness. And, the cynicism here in the States right now is pervasive, is so much so that I even catch myself. We're very suspect of anyone that would choose politics as a career. We don't trust a lot of people right now because it's such a scary time. And so to have an American character that is inherently good and optimistic, even though he's still flawed and still makes a lot of mistakes and still has all of his own problems. It was a good escape for. I'm very grateful to have a job during all this, so it was a good escape for us as writers and stuff as well. I agree with you. I hope that other people feel the same, but it was fun to work on.
Yeah. A very interesting aspect on the character Ted is he's not giving orders to his team. He gives them the room to find their way. Is that the right impression?
Yes, it's twofold, which is Ted really feels, it's very funny because Jason Sudeikis has these rules for Ted that he follows to a T, and one of them is that a really good coach or a really good mentor can't make you do something. They can show you the way, if you want to find it, to doing the right thing. And it's a theme. You're very astute because it's a theme that he put throughout the show, not only this season, but in the season that we're writing, now for the second year, is he sometimes calls them breadcrumbs. I can leave a trail for the players and for the people I care about to do what I think is the right thing, but they have to decide on their own. And it's not only just part of individual episodes, it's thematically runs through the whole series. And it is very much, I don't know how much Europeans ever know about our college sports. A lot of university sports. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, American football versus British football or European football," and the truth is, it's American college football versus because in American college sports, which are still huge here and have passionate fan bases, are on TV. The players aren't employees. You know what I mean? It's a very family type situation. These coaches recruit them and woo them. They say, "Please come be part of my family." And then American pro football is a lot like your pro sports, in which players are drafted and they have to move to wherever they're drafted by whether they like it or not. So it was very important to Jason that he was coming from American college football, where you create a family and have lasting relationships and put the people before winning, as opposed to maybe the boss employee thing that all of our countries associate with pro sports.
The whole scenario reminds me on a movie in the 80s, which is also a losing team and then a new coach with less hope at the beginning. So what that in your mind too?
Without a doubt. Look, now you're fun to talk to, man, because you're a very astute viewer. Is Jason and I love sports movies. So it's a challenge in two ways. The great sports movies are never really about winning or losing, because I think in the scenario you just described, you know and hope they're going to win at the end, you know. But what you fall in love with is the characters and whether they'll connect, overcome hurdles. And we made all the writers watch our favorite sports movies, you know, before we even did this. And so the one challenge was to be true to those movies that don't really exist the same way anymore, and we grew up loving them. And then the other challenge was to at least throw in some surprises so that not everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. So I would say, yes, if you love sports movies, you will have a comfort and a familiarity with this that I think will make you happy. But also, I would bet that people aren't able to predict certain big twists and turns, except the fact that this is, you know, an optimistic and heartfelt show. And hopefully when it's all said and done in a few seasons, will not end in a dark and cynical place, or that would hurt my heart.
Yeah.
But yes, without a doubt, we love them and we're playing homage to them in a lot of ways.
Okay. What is your hope, or what is the message you want to deliver?
For me, the message of the show is twofold. I think we wanted to portray Ted Lasso, the character, as a good version of an American abroad. And I think I understand, having done a show right before this, you know, I moved to the UK for this, and before this I did a show in Prague. And the perception of Americans now is completely, you know, abroad, is completely different than it was 10 years ago, you know, when I was over in Europe, understandably so. And so it was important to us to present a character that, even though he's ignorant and a fish out of water, is not approaching it with the kind of arrogance, you know, that's associated with the stereotypical ugly American right now. You know, we hope that European audiences find him to be the best version, and the version of, you know, an American abroad that they might miss, you know, especially with the crazy stuff going on here. So that was one thing that we really wanted to portray. And then the second thing is, you know, you and I talked about a little already, is an inherent optimism and hopefulness, even though it's just a TV show, in that there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and that there's still a world in which good things can happen to good people, you know. And you know, so, you know, that mixed with kind of the diverse cast and the melting pot feel of it, you know, we hope at a time that people might need a little escapist entertainment, that they come out of this feeling good.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again, and all the best for you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the nice stuff you said. Have a great day.